Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we are going to be doing some shorter-term technical analysis on the Bitcoin market because I want to show you a pattern that I found down on the hourly chart for Bitcoin that tells us where Bitcoin is likely to be heading over the next several weeks. Guys, we have a ton of technical indicators to get into in today's video, and by the end of this video, you're going to be walking away having a good understanding of where Bitcoin is, where Bitcoin is likely to go, and whether or not Bitcoin is about to break to the upside and continue the rally or pull back, because we are going to be talking price targets in today's video. I think you're going to get a lot of great value out of today's video. If you do, as always, hit that like and subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at CryptoJeb. But without much further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Before we get started, I do want to mention that if you sign up for Bybit with the link in the pinned comment in the comment section down below and use the coupon code WIN$500, you're going to get up to $500 back when you deposit Bitcoin onto Bybit. Bybit's a great exchange anyway. I would highly encourage you to sign up there. It is the exchange that I personally use, but nevertheless, let's go ahead and jump on to the charts. Because in today's video, we have quite a bit of technical analysis to do. But I want to start with one thing, this pattern. As you guys can see down here on the hourly chart for Bitcoin, we have a very well-defined downtrending level of resistance and a not so well-defined uptrending level of support. We're going to come back to this level of support here in a second, but the first thing I want to talk about is that Bitcoin has been in a massive rally over the last several weeks, up 22% in 7 days. We've seen a lot of bullishness on Bitcoin, and it stands to reason with everything going on in the space, which we'll get to later, that Bitcoin's rally would continue. These consolidation patterns after a big rally almost always break to the upside, but the question in today's video is that going to happen today? Remember, guys, technical analysis is not the science of predicting the future. Technical analysis is the science of giving a probability to each future outcome. There's a very big difference there. Technical analysis is not saying, the analysis says that Bitcoin is going to break to the upside and you're going to make 100 grand. Technical analysis is saying there's a 65% chance that Bitcoin follows through on the bullish scenario and a 20% chance that Bitcoin follows through on the bearish scenario and whatever percent that Bitcoin does something else. That's what technical analysis is, because if you have a weighted probability set for the different outcomes of Bitcoin's price action, then you can use that to make profitable trades. So with that in mind, let's look at a few of those outcomes on Bitcoin. One of the obvious outcomes of this consolidation pattern is a break north and Bitcoin continues rallying all the way up to $20,000. Another possible outcome is Bitcoin breaks south and we break this uptrending level of support and we come to the downside. And a third probability is that we either trade sideways or slightly to the upside and slightly to the downside, more or less just sideways trading. Those are our three outcomes, so which one is more likely? We're going to come back to that, but the first thing I want to do is I want to zoom in on this uptrending level of support. Guys, I want to point out this uptrending level of support is not very well defined in the same way our downtrending one is. It's very likely that this downtrending level of support being substantiated by this high, kind of this high, not really, but also this high right here, this downtrending level of support is pretty well substantiated based on the technicals. You could even argue that the downtrending level of resistance actually looks something like this, and we had a brief break of it. Doesn't really matter. Let's just call it right here for now. The reason I say this trend line isn't very well substantiated, and the reason that's important, is because Bitcoin is testing it right now. We don't know if Bitcoin's going to bounce here, or if it's going to bounce here, or if it's going to bounce here. We don't actually know the degree of this uptrend yet. Therefore, we don't actually know if this is a pennant pattern, or a flag, or a trading channel. We don't really know what this is yet because this has not been defined. Tomorrow, we will more than likely know where this last point is. This is called the set point. This is called the pivot point on a trend line. Those are my terms. You probably haven't heard those before. Once we know where Bitcoin bounces here and establishes this trend line, we'll know more about this pattern. The point is, it's more than likely going to break up. However, the question that I'm more interested in is, where does Bitcoin go today? Where does this uptrending level of support get set at? Because again, since Bitcoin has not confirmed this bottom right here at, let's see, $14,981, we don't actually know that that's what that uptrending level of support is going to be like. That's where the rest of our technical analysis comes into play. Number one, $15,000, which is basically where we're sitting right now, is obviously a hugely important level of support. Going out to the daily chart, we can see going all the way back to 2017, this was an important level of support. We saw trading around it back over here in multiple cases. And also, of course, guys, $15,000 is a big even. It's 75% of the way from 0 to 20K. It is going to be an important level of support in the same way $10,000 was, in the same way that $5,000 was, in the same way that $20,000 is an important level of resistance. That's something we talk about in CT2A, our big evens. This is a very good example of one, and it does make a strong case for Bitcoin bottoming right here, which we're asking a question, where's Bitcoin going to bottom on the hourly chart? Well, $15,000, where we are right now, seems like a likely candidate, but let's keep digging. Because there are a few other places that Bitcoin could theoretically bottom here. As you guys can see, this is really important. When Bitcoin rejected from $15,850 just a few hours ago earlier this morning, we put in a formation called 3 black crows, sometimes sometimes known as the three red crows. Nevertheless, we had three large, equally sized red candlesticks. That's normally a very bearish sign, and normally you don't want to see that following a resistance touch. Nevertheless, because we've seen that, it does call into question $15,000 as our level of support. So where else might we find a level of support? Well, I have a few ideas. Number one, Bitcoin has this uptrending level of support right here set by these highs back over here, and also set with this touch right here. If Bitcoin does not hold $15,000, it is resoundingly likely that Bitcoin will hold $14,400 or so on this support level. And then beneath that, of course, we have the zone between 13.8 and 14 flat. This zone right here comes from not only $14,000 as a big even, but also our previous level of resistance over here at $13,800 in June of last year. So that gives us two possible places that Bitcoin could pull back to if we do break 15K. Number one, we could pull back and touch this uptrending level of support, or a zone down here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to extend this zone all the way up here into this uptrending level of support and call anywhere in here a catchment area for Bitcoin to get support in between 13.8 and 14.3. Should Bitcoin break $15,000, here's the important thing. Should Bitcoin break $15,000, it's likely we're going to pull back to below 14.5, which gives you a trading opportunity, a shorting opportunity, actually. Now, here's the thing. Before I even get into this, I am not a financial advisor. You should never make your trades just based off of what I said. This is a trade that you can make, but normally it's not a good idea to make a short trade, even if it is a short-term trade. Two different things there. It's normally not a good idea to bet against a very strong uptrend. Right now, Bitcoin, even though on the next couple of days might be bearish because we're consolidating, we're going to talk about that in a second, even though that's the case, it's normally not a good idea to bet bearish when Bitcoin is very clearly bullish. So there is a trade opportunity here. I don't know that you should take it, though. That's my 2 cents, but here it is. If you were to trade this, this is something that it would look like. You'd probably have an entry position right around 14.9, maybe lower. Let's call it 14.8, actually, just for safety. This is going to be a little bit of a safer trade than you really need to do. I would put a stop loss at 15.1 because at that point, Bitcoin is very clearly bouncing, and I would put your target down here at 14.3. And actually, you might even cover half of it at 14.3 and another half of it lower. That gives you about a 2 risk to reward ratio, which is pretty good. But again, guys, bear in mind, just because you see a trading opportunity doesn't mean you should take it. And again, remember, we're not making trades to make profit. We're making trades for two other reasons. That sounds counterintuitive, but let me explain. We're making trades to learn. We're not trading to earn, we're trading to learn. We want to continuously get better because that's how we see exponential growth in our trading capabilities, is by constantly focusing on learning, not earning. The earning must be seduced by you focusing on your learning. It's the same way that if you're desperately going around asking every girl that you come across to go on a date with you, you're probably not going to get any dates. You might get one, but you're probably also going to be a loser because you aren't focusing on yourself. If instead you're focusing on everything that you can do to make yourself a better person, you're not even going to have to try and you'll find yourself a wife. Just giving you an example. Shout out to all the 3 ladies watching the channel. Tell us in the comment section down below if you're part of the 6% of our viewers that are female. I'd love to get that number up, but I don't really know how to because cryptocurrency is a very male space. Anyway, the point is, you want to make sure you're trading to learn, not to earn. And the second reason for what I just said is because you don't make your entire career based off of one trade. You make your entire career off of thousands of trades. So what's important isn't that you get every single trade right. What's important is that you are consistently getting more profit than you are getting loss. Profitable traders, professional traders, whatever you want to call them, they lose trades all the time. Just because you're a good trader, because you're making a living doing it, doesn't mean you're not going to lose trades. So again, don't get caught up in the mentality of, oh, I have to make every single trade work. Sometimes it's good to take a trade that you don't think is going to work just so you can learn the lesson. With small amounts of capital anyway. Don't put your whole life savings into a trade like that. Anyway, moving forward here, this would probably be a trade that you'd stay in for less than 24 hours. This is very much an intraday trade. As far as inter-day trades are concerned, though, if we go out to the daily chart, it's very clear, guys, that we're in an uptrend. Bitcoin is almost certainly going to bounce somewhere around $14,000, and from there, we're almost certainly going to rally. So we'll talk about trade setups for that in the future, but guys, it's not that complicated. Either you enter where we are right now. I did not mean to move that. You can enter right here where we are, or you can enter down here. At the end of the day, Bitcoin's more than likely going back to 20K in the next 3 months, so you're going to be safe being in a bullish trade for the long run anyway, even if Bitcoin does retrace. So is this a good time to trade? Think about doing that short-term trade I just laid out. If you do it for the purposes of learning. Don't do it for the purposes of earning. It is a trade that's possible. Again, technical analysis is about predicting the outcomes with probabilities, not with certainties. The question of whether or not now is a good time to invest, yeah. If you're holding it for more than a year, which is the definition of investment, I think now is a fantastic time to invest. Of course, the better time to invest was 6 months ago, but That's almost always the case in a constantly uptrending market. So yeah, if you're trying to get into an investment on Bitcoin and you're planning on holding it for a while, it's not a bad idea in my opinion. This is not financial advice. Go consult your CPA, financial advisor, your grandmother, the dude down the street with a crystal ball that is absolutely certain Bitcoin's going to moonshot. Consult that guy. He knows what he's talking about. That guy's me. No, never mind. Anyway, before we go, I just want to point out a couple of things on the longer term charts. Number one, Bitcoin is above every single moving average at the moment, which is just stupidly bullish for the long term. We're above the 20s, we're above the 50, the 100, the 200. We're above everything, which means Bitcoin's in a very strong uptrend. Also, Bitcoin just got overextended on Bollinger Bands, and we're still pretty far north of the center of the Bollinger Bands, which is, of course, a 20 simple moving average, meaning that if we pulled back from 15K to 14K, that would actually be a very healthy move. RSI is still overextended. We're sitting at about 66, which isn't crazy, but it's not great. MACD is trending to the downside. By the way, I forgot to mention this earlier, but MACD on hourly and 4 hourly is pretty bearish, which kind of confirms what I was talking about earlier. Another thing I want to mention is that as of today hasn't closed yet, of course, but it looks like TD sequential is being reset. As you guys know, we hit a 9 on the 26th of October, and we've been overextended on TD sequential ever since. Having a reset on the 1 right here is the first step towards consolidation, locking in gains, building our support levels, layering on that VPVR support that we want to see for Bitcoin to continue north. All very good things for the space because, as you can see, the majority of our VPVR support trails off after 12K. So I would love for us to sit up here and trade between 12 and 15K for the next 6 months. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to go parabolic, but it is what I would actually like to see happen. And also another thing that I want to mention, guys, is that the on-chain fundamentals for Bitcoin are looking fantastic right now. We talked about that in yesterday's video. Go follow that video. I'll put it somewhere. It'll be on the end screen. New addresses are at a yearly high. Hash rate is just insane right now post-halving. Bitcoin exchange balance is going down substantially. It started jumping off a cliff lately, which if you don't know what that means, we talked about that in yesterday's video. Also, that means that a lot of people are pulling off exchange, starting to hodl. We've seen other statistics and metrics which are incredible, like 95% of Bitcoin wallets are in profit right now, and most of them have already taken their profit, which is amazing. That means we built strong support where we are from a fundamental on-chain perspective. And it also means that people are confident in Bitcoin. For the first time since 2017, people are confident in Bitcoin returning to $20,000. So guys, to wrap out the video, I just want to make sure that you're not fudding because of what I talked about in today's video. I want to make sure you realize, guys, even if Bitcoin comes back and tests $14,000 as support, that was the high for the last 2.5 years just a week ago. If you remember on election night, everybody was talking about, oh my gosh, Bitcoin's going to hit $14,000 while the election's going on. We just hit $16,000. So we've been waiting for 2.5 years to hit $14,000, and now are we really going to start getting scared because Bitcoin might pull back to $14,000? No, that's ridiculous. Bitcoin is extremely bullish right now. The fundamentals, on-chain metrics, I mean, everything is just so crystal, very clear, guys. And by the way, my final point is this. Bitcoin has gone on this rally to $16,000 with a negligible increase in search volume. Look at this. Back in June when Bitcoin hit $13,800, we had 23 Bitcoin search volume out of 100. Right now, we have 9, and we rallied $2,500 higher. That 9 is compared to 100, which was set at the end of 2017. So we saw a gigantic hype cycle at the end of 2017, which led to those massive price targets of 20K. We haven't even seen a hype cycle, and Bitcoin ran to $16,000. Let me say that again. We have not even seen a hype cycle. We have not even seen ridiculous inflows of retail investor interest and news coverage of the space like we saw in 2017. The fundamentals are stronger than ever, and Bitcoin rallied 80% of the way back to all-time high. That, my friends, is remarkable, and it is an amazingly good sign for the future of Bitcoin, because when that hype cycle starts, we're looking at price targets of $30,000 to $40,000. So is now a decent time to make a trade? Maybe wait a couple days to see if Bitcoin breaks bullish or bearish out of this consolidation pattern. We don't know yet. Is now a great time to invest? Yes, in my opinion, it most certainly is. Remember, go check with that guy in the corner with the crystal ball. He seems to always get it right. But I think it's a good time. Tell me what you think in the comment section down below. And tell me what you thought of today's video. I've been trying to rework the way we do daily videos. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this video. I think you got a lot of great value out of it. Tell me if you did. And if you did, I'm asking you humbly, if, only if, we earned it, hit the like button. Hit that subscribe button, because we make daily content, and we would love to continue bringing you guys awesome content. I hope you guys are enjoying this channel. If you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at CryptoJeb. We've been very active over there. We're about to hit 1,000 followers on Instagram. And by the way, good reason to follow us on Instagram. We're giving away the course over on Instagram, so go and follow us. There's a post explaining how to get entered for that. Pretty cool stuff. Anyway, guys, that is going to wrap it out for today's video. Before I go, though, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good